My name is Mark Brand. You are listening to Better. I'm a social impact entrepreneur, so I build businesses that are in service to the greater community. So Better was formed to be a tool for everyday advocacy. I think anytime we take people's attention, we have to give something. I think Uniacke Square in particular, is a microcosm of so many incredibly rich cultures, and Hope Blooms is one of the only places that anchors those things together.
I know people are going to have the stigma, but we have to push against that. We have to show them, because I just believe it's human nature. When you're so used to something, you precognitively just respond in that way where you're used to. So when there's a little bit of disruption, innovation, you're like, wait a second, I never felt this way before.
But growing up in the space that I grew up in, I did unfortunately experience a lot of like mental and emotional, psychological abuse. That moment taught me and told me and showed me that nobody was going to be coming to save me, and that if I wanted to feel differently than I was, that I had to do that for myself.
Wow.
Woohoo!
So in my mind, the way that this all occurred is we were going to have Hope Blooms on,
Right.
always. And
Right.
it was like, who is going to come from Hope Blooms? And Kolade is just, I'm so happy he was able to do it. And then as we were discussing back and forth, you and I and the rest of the team, I was like, there's something that I want to add to the episode, but I'm just not sure what it is yet. And so last week at the Divert Nova Scotia Awards, where our little spot took home Best New Small Business, I'm pretty proud of that.
I love that.
Yeah, and I'm like, small business? Who you going small? And unbeknownst to me, because I was keynoting it, but the green room is set up, and this host, his name's Keonte Beals, he'd been reaching out to me for the last sort of year to connect and just to see like how we might be able to work together. And as soon as I met him, it was game over. And it came directly to the forefront for me. I was like, do you happen to be available next Monday at 9 a.m.? And he said, I am. I said, I need you as part of this conversation.
Match made in heaven.
Like, genuinely. So when people think that we put a lot of thought and energy and time and into creating and crafting these episodes, we do.
Oh my goodness, there's so much behind the scenes
so
that
much.
nobody sees.
Yeah.
When he came into, I always do like a guest sheet to prep myself for our chats and everything like that. And I was like, not to sound insane like to Keonte, but I was like, what you do is so cool. I was like, I researched you, but not to sound crazy. I was like, your children's books, you go to schools and everything. I'm like, that is sick. Like, that's such a cool thing to do.
It really is. And to take your gifts and to share them. And what I was hoping to do and what we definitely achieved today was to share like the flame that burns in both of them, what ignited it specifically, and then what they're using it for. And so the thought that somebody would come into my class that comes from a similar background and similar set of challenges and can just radically see me and then give me a tool to take away, as Keonte does. Yeah. Incredible.
And like, you remember from assemblies, that's what I told him too. And we were bonding over like early 2000s, like people who would come in for assemblies in Nova Scotia and stuff. And it was just so cool to be like, that's you. You're that person. We talk about like, there was the domino man that people, there was the guy who used to set up dominoes for assemblies and stuff, and everybody kind of remembered him. I'm like, that's what you're doing. People are going to remember that. These young kids, it's impactful. And it's really cool. Like, I'm like, what you're doing is obviously impactful, but it's just a cool thing to do. Like, you should be really proud of yourself.
Definitely. And watching the two of them walk out essentially arm in arm and being like, oh, we got to do all this stuff together. We got to, and then that's really the design here. And when anybody's listening at home, the entire point of this is for you to be able to see yourself in them and vice versa. Like watching them gel and sort of become cohesive in a, wait a sec, how come why doesn't, I think that's, people talk about networking events all the time.
This is the ultimate networking.
Literally exactly what we're trying to do. Like, think about the butterfly wings, right? Like, what happens outside of this. So, there's so much discussed. We discussed everything from self-love, which seemed to just pour itself into the episode and just stay there.
My God. Yeah. Every aspect of it. Like, Keonte had said something, and then Kolade was like, I'm actually going to like add on to what you're saying. And it's like, you guys just kind of, not that they just met, but it's like they just meshed so well and like, bouncing off each other, because self-love is really something we can all relate to and probably work on.
Yeah.
Truly.
It's so much work. And so the laddering and the skills and the tools that they both shared, because I think we can speak anecdotally about these things really easy. And Keonte was so eloquent. He was just like self-love seems overwhelming. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, say that again. Like I have tools and I feel that right in this moment. Like as you're saying that, I'm like, oh, where do I even start with that? And like I've got great tools and Sarah and I've got great tools together, but it's hard just because we're consistently fire hosed with negativity to come back to self and start there with the design of the day or your week or your month. And so him sharing all of those tools it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And Kolade had a lot of really good points. I wrote a lot of them down, but he said one thing that I like bolded in my notes because I was like, oh my God, like the little alarm bells were like, I need to talk about this with Mark. Barriers into bridges and dreams into careers.
Yeah. Yeah. And so he's talking about Hope Blooms. So Hope Blooms is an organization that operates on the unceded Mi'kmaq territories about 2 blocks from our kitchens. And I've been mentoring those folks for over 12 years. And when I say mentoring, I feel like that almost feels like patriarchal. It is such a peer-to-peer thing. I learned more, and I learned more today in this interview, in an exchange of ideas, an exchange of methodologies, and an exchange of resources. But what they've done forever is create a safe space for kids who come from all different backgrounds to meet and share like story and cultural differences and enrich their lives through farming, through entrepreneurship. They won Dragon's Den way back in the day.
I saw that on their website. I was like, that's crazy.
Wait till you look at the picture now. Kolade's in that episode. I think he's like 10 or 12 or something.
Oh my gosh.
But they're a belief factory. So what you're sharing about that part is like really they change the mindset of kids through exampling versus like being like just told you should love yourself and you should do better. They show you like what they've become and how everybody else in that community shows up for each other. It's a one of one. Like I've seen a lot of community gardens. I see a lot of these places, but what it does and how it does exactly what you described there, it's so phenomenal.
I want to talk about it more, but I don't want to spoil the episode. I'm like, I have so many points, but I'm like, nope, I want people to listen to it more than just hear me yap about it.
Yeah. And so if you're listening, the preparation for the episode is Google Hope Blooms. And we'll put the links all below this, but to understand what you're walking into, I think it's important to get yourself set.
Yeah,
I re-listened to some of our stuff on my way in here to Halifax, and I was just touched that I approach a lot of this professionally, and I approach it emotionally too, but I really approach it professionally, and I allowed myself to emotionally digest a bunch of the episodes that we've done this year.
Lovely.
And it's not because of the way that we built it, not because of the way that we've set it up, but just because of what happens. It's so beautiful and so powerful that there's so much to take away.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And so I think, preparing yourself to listen is important. I put stuff on the background. And so listening to these episodes without stuff, just being able to like truly be with the guests it's something.
Well, we're excited.
Yes. And so folks, get yourself ready. It's one of the last episodes of the season. I can't believe we're almost wrapped season 3.
Crazy.
Yeah, lucky number 3. So yes, make sure to pre-save and get yourself set. I'm Mark Brand, and you've been listening to Better.